Christine here with a discussion about the AI in Hotfix 6.34 for Total War Warhammer 3. I do have a campaign over here on turn 50. I've been playing as Claw, but really the only playing I've done is I've built an army for him and just kept building stuff and researching stuff. Outside of that, I have not interacted with this campaign map at all, with the exception of allying Scrag, who's been getting his ass kicked by Belegar. And the turn before this, so on turn 49, I loaded up console command, and I've used it to ally a certain number of factions so I could take a look at what has been going on the campaign map. Vlad has been wiped out, and we'll get into that in just a second, because this hotfix was meant to address the situation with Chaos Dwarves and their elite recruitment. This is what we're seeing from Drazov, who I think is the only strong Chaos Dwarf faction at the moment. Well, Zaytan is doing pretty okay as well. But you can see that he has a bunch of Chaos Warriors, Blunderbusses, and Infernal Guard, along with a rank 22 General. Though I would have to say that I am not terribly impressed if in 50 turns all that Drazov has done is take control of 3 provinces, and even then not fully. That is not an impressive achievement. Sure, now is the point where he might start steamrolling things, but this is kind of one of the problems with the game. That you have these AI factions that take 50 turns to get anywhere to a meaningful level, and meanwhile you in 50 turns just demolish everyone in your path. And really, the average player, based on polling I've done, and even what Creative Assembly has stated, the average player is kind of done with their campaigns by turn 80. Undoubtedly, there will be some people who are so self-centered that are going to say, well, I play a 120 turns campaign. Yeah, you're not the average. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters what the overall statistics are. And it doesn't even matter how much I play. That 50-80 turn is not how much I play in a campaign. I finish campaigns by turn 30. But yeah. You still have plenty of orc laborers, and I think this reflects a certain issue with the way AI handles disbanding units. See, it will disband lower tier units, but not if they're experienced. That way, the AI is going to view these units and think they're more valuable than higher tier units. Suffice to say, a single hobgoblin unit, cutthroats, would actually be better than these orc laborers, let alone a chaos dwarf unit. But that's not what the AI is doing. And it is something that we do see often and not enough. Now, in terms of AI behavior, is there still a bunch of this behavior? This is the same campaign I showed earlier, though, yesterday, though that was something I showed at turn 20. What I did is I loaded that same campaign at like turn 17 before I had enabled mods for that video. And it just continued through it. So in this case, Gorst has just been wasting time. He doesn't even have he doesn't even have 3 provinces. He has 2, and I think he's about to have a very, very bad day. And here's the thing: he has money. I know he has money. He has a tier 5 settlement. He has 2 tier 5 settlements, and yet he's still recruiting. He hasn't recruited good armies. He hasn't disbanded units. In some cases, you might understand the situation because of what happens with regards to unit experience, but I also think in this case it's just complete failure of the AI. And the AI just doesn't use its resources properly. It hesitates. And this is where you might get certain people in CA trying to gaslight players into arguing, well, you wanted the AI to be less aggressive. No. We wanted the AI to not suicide charge against the player or against each other, because that was not helping it out. We didn't want the AI to end up in this situation. It feels to me, and what CA has stated very clearly, is they're using priority lists for priority tasks, like what the AI should do, how it should do it. And it's like, seems to me that CA is attached to the idea of what the game should be, not what it actually is. because they don't have a clear build order. They have a priority order. They should have clear build orders of units like, okay, I want to recruit these above all others, etc., etc. It is just a bad dynamic that they have, and it creates situations where even powerful factions, in this case, Xiao Ming, ends up having a bunch of really questionable units. Keep in mind, Xiao Ming is only now getting to tier 5 for his capital, but he's had a tier 3 barracks for a long time, and yet most of his armies don't have Jade Warriors with halberds or Jade Warriors crossbows. Some of them do, but most of them won't. They have regular Jade Warriors, they'll even have peasants. So the AI doesn't know how to build good armies. It doesn't have any conception of a good build order. At worst, in terms of a challenge, it might build, an entire stack of monstrous units, and that can be dangerous unless you know to expect it and you overwhelm the AI, or just defeat the AI before it becomes a problem. But there are ways, like an entire army of Terracotta Sentinels sounds very dangerous, but that's why you build proper armies and play the campaign properly, and not sit on your ass for 100 turns and then get surprised when the AI throws a dozen steam tanks at you. For instance, if you're fighting against Empire, you took 100 turns. The game should be won by turn 80. If you're spending over 100 turns to get from, say, Warzak's position to the Empire, it's like, I'm not sure exactly what campaign you're playing. But that's the thing. The game does incentivize people to sit on their ass because there's no risk if you sit on your ass. Like, this is a legendary campaign, by the way, very hard, normal stats modifier. I've literally done nothing this entire campaign and no one has attacked me once. At most, I've been annoyed by heroes, but I haven't had a rebellion. I've gained a lot of money. At most, I've been threatened with wars, but I've been at war with Belegar for a while. He has just been losing armies left and right against Scrag, and he has not attacked Skaven Blight any point. And he has been very inefficient in attacking Scrag as well. Like, if I wanted to, at this point on turn 50, I could just overwhelm him, because he's lost. He's just suicided himself. He should have been dominating for a long time. Even Moger, who has high-level armies right now, or some, in Heroes, is not that big of a threat. I take out his Hearthstone, I wipe him out, GG, well played. This is the problem. I'm not sure if this is a problem of the AI priority tasks and how those tasks don't work with each other, but it's also, to me, it screams the idea that CA has no understanding how the game is played. Of course, because if you look at Reddit, if you look at social media, you might get the impression that a bunch of people are playing turn 100 campaigns, because those are the vocal people. But see, the thing is, Creative Assembly, because you've given us these figures, you know what people play campaigns like. You know what the turn timers are. You know when people get tired of their campaigns. And just by the way, because people are finishing their campaigns by turn 80 does not mean that that's the point they've won. They've probably won dozens of turns earlier. And that is the problem. Then we don't have a good mid game. We don't have a good late game whatsoever. And we clearly have a game made by people who don't grasp that based on the assumption that people are going to enjoy this. By the way, there's nothing enjoyable or challenging about dealing with this. Like, let's take a look at the most powerful faction in the game, Elspeth. So she's beaten Vlad. She has a decent amount of territory, though not as much as she should. But she does have Sylvania. She does have Midland. She confederated that. And here's the thing. Her armies are just garbage. Like, this is not how the most powerful faction in the game should look like. Like, you might think, oh, she's got gold-ranked units and outriders. I'm like, I'll tell you this. This army, I'd defeat this with this one. Like, plain and clear. Like, I could even teleport right there and I'd win. And I wouldn't be doing some crazy tactics or micro or anything like that. I would flat out win without using a nuke, without good micro, by just screwing around. Because it's a badly built army. It's not just a question of like, oh, my army is just better in this situation. No, it's just a badly built army. It's a badly built army because it's got these outriders with grenade launchers. Okay. It's got cannons. Okay. And then you've got handgunners. Okay. Where's your infantry? Where's frontline holders? Where's magic? Where's heroes? And this is something you see in common again and again. Bad hero management, bad unit management, bad recruitment management, because CA does not understand how their game is played. This is actually, this army that you're seeing here is actually the most dangerous one that Elspeth has, because it has a good variety of units. Yes, war wagons or whatever, but she has no iron sides. She has some great one unit of great source. She does have a witch hunter, a witch empire captain. There might be another that's dangerous, but just because an army has a lot of units or even higher tier units does not mean it is in any way, shape, or form dangerous. Like, there should be more quality units, or maybe this one is the most dangerous, because yes, it has a lot of range units, but you know how you deal with range units. If you don't have any kind of units to slow down the enemy, if you don't have melee units, this army has only 4 melee units, one of which is a cav, one is a halberd, so whatever. Like, you just reserve rush it. Now, sure, you might say, well, your army is also ranged. It's like, I've got heroes. I can rush with these heroes, low level as they are, right in the middle of that. I might lose some of them, but, like, I would literally win this either in ranged or in melee. Like, there are so many ways, because I actually have a better army composition. We need to stop with this stupid priority system, and we need to understand that the game has to be designed so that AI is building properly from turn 1. How people enjoy playing a campaign is irrelevant. What is relevant, however, is that the AI is building up strength properly. Proper army compositions, proper hero compositions, proper usage of heroes, proper strategic planning, proper building an empires, not watching the AI sit with free armies in Nuln for whatever unknowable reason. Okay, in this case, she's at war with Durfu, which is, by the way, a very recent thing, I should add. So, but that's the thing. Like, Elspeth should be controlling a lot more territory. Everyone should be. Like, all these major factions should be controlling more territory. Skrulk is a sad state of affairs, actually. He's taken Lestria, or he's defeated many factions for quite a few turns, but look, this army is probably the best one that he has, because his actual army is clan rats, Skaven slaves, and warp grinders. That is pathetic. This is not even an army he should have past turn 5, let alone turn 50. If people think this is fine, oh, I just enjoy playing the game slower. Okay. To me, that's the equivalent of watching a player in a shooter. Let's take Battlefield 6, popular game recently. Let's use that. It's the equivalent of watching someone in a shooter game playing a sniper on a close quarter map, like Gauntlet. Which, by the way, yes, you can do a sniper, but you also have to play objectives. But imagine playing sniper in a close quarters match. Some people might manage it, sure. Most people that do so are terrible. And it's fine to not be the best at the game. But do you know what makes someone decent at the game? Not the best. Not, oh, it's peak efficiency. People will argue about, like, min-maxing and all that, have no understanding what min-maxing actually looks like in a video game. And yes, I know, because I've been a min-maxer, and believe it or not, I actually hate it. Because min-maxing is not like, oh, I'm gonna conquer territory stuff fast or win very quickly. Min-maxing is using every single thing that's available. It's, if you want to min-max, you region trade, you abuse diplomacy, you abuse region trading, you take regions that you've traded to a one faction back on the same turn with lords because they don't have a garrison, you then sell them to another faction, you get infinite money. That's how you min-max, if you want to talk about the ultimate expression of how you abuse the crap out of it. Actually, the way you min-max is you get Legendary Lord defeat traits on characters as well, and then you load those characters in a campaign and dominate the map. That is how you min-max. So please don't give me that. You have no idea. If you think that playing the game well or fast is min-maxing, you have no idea what it is. I don't like doing those things, for the record. But yes, I have certainly played on a level in certain games in World of Warcraft. But it's a difference between min-maxing and having a game that's built properly. not for the lowest common denominator. See, a game should be built in such a way that it's encouraging people to get outside their comfort zone and learn to be better. This is one of the things Warcraft did well. This is one of the things Dark Souls does well. Yes, Elden Ring. Like, Warcraft 3 did well. StarCraft 2 did well. Oh, but those are strategy games. You know, there are different kinds of games that have done it poorly. In RTS, in shooters, in RPGs, doesn't matter. Some games do it well. Elden Ring, for instance, does it very well because you can trivialize so much of that game. Like Mimic Tear, certain weapons, certain items, certain builds. Most people don't play like that. It's fine to not play like that. But the thing about that game is it's rewarding regardless of how you play. You want to go out there and explore everything and do everything and take it slow, you can do so. You want to go min-max to the limit, you can do so. And there are things designed to reward everything, to feel like a journey. Like, I personally play Elden Ring or Souls games slowly. I explore, I play Fashion Souls. Because it isn't a rewarding experience. Dealing with armies like this is not a rewarding experience, whether you take it fast or slow. And that is the problem. Or watching a situation like an Wolf one, just to finish this up, where Elfarian's been sitting on his ass. At one point, he may have had a lot more armies, but you look at his armies right now, he has 4 stacks, or he had 4 stacks, 5. He had more armies. 6, actually, I think he may have had. Then he's lost them because he didn't do anything. So they get stuck in indecision, in not doing anything, in not setting goals, because it doesn't have goals. It has priority tasks. Sometimes there is some programming. My perspective, or my understanding, is there is some level of programming where CA basically said you should conquer this territory in every campaign. So, for instance, Elfarian, regardless of how you view it, he is going to be hard-coded to want Southern Everest. If you give Southern Everest to him, you can have an amazing diplomatic relation with him. But everything beyond that, he's not coded. So this is what happens when you build everything based on priority tasks as opposed to an actual plan of a campaign. Also, when you add randomization for faction potential, because that's also going to break the gameplay loop, because you end up having certain factions that should be strong ending up being defeated by weaker factions who aren't strong just because of faction potential. And then those weaker factions don't actually do very well on the campaign map. Why would they? So faction potential, randomization, prioritization, campaign pacing, campaign flow. Is there anything better with a hotfix? I mean, there are, sure, but it's very slow and not necessarily going to be reflected well in a campaign. Is better, yes, but it's kind of like a mirage, an illusion, if you will. It's not actually better, it just seems better. So I regret the video I did yesterday. Go see and sign out.